Moving forward to the Sun Belt, we have South Alabama, big one here. Really, I'm glad that this one is on a weeknight so it can get its proper attention. South Alabama on the road at Troy. The Trojans are 5.5-point home favorites, and this game carries an over-under 45.5 points. Kicks off Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Both South Alabama and the under took money. This one midweek, and there's a big reason why South Alabama took the money. Quarterback Carter Bradley was announced to have returned to practice and is likely to play this week. It's a really big deal for the Jags. The big matchup I'm watching for here, LaDamian Webb, the running back for South Alabama against Troy's run defense. Troy's 14th in rush EPA and 34th in success rate, so they're giving up more reasonable chunk yards and not as many explosives. Webb is the national co-leader in touchdowns scored with 13. How about that? He's gone for over 100 rushing yards in 3 of 4 games. And, of course, the one exception, just like we talked about Taj Brooks, was 96 yards against Louisiana. Come on, guys, give him one more carry. He did score a rushing touchdown in his last 7 games, though, after coming up empty in week 1, hence why he is the national co-leader. But the most effective game, honestly, for South Alabama is actually the passing game, and that's why Carter Bradley coming back is a big deal. Slot receiver Colin Lacey leads the Sun Belt in receiving. He's the second national leader in yards. Like, we're not used to talking about South Alabama having all these national leaders in offensive categories, but hey, here they are. Do note, though, that Lacey splits work, if you look at the body of work as a whole, with Jamal Pritchett. He's a 5'8" receiver, and I was like, why isn't he in the slot? No, he's a wideout at 5'8", speedy guy. He saw 18 targets last week, though. So there was a clear game plan. The man was getting open, so it is split a little bit. Lacey is the go-to on this offense. Troy, they're also top 15 in EPA against the pass. Their only 2 losses on the season are Kansas State and James Madison. That's not too bad. Their strength of record splits, I do have to point this out, because when you do look at teams that may be close to being even, under within a score, under 1 touchdown, I like to look at their strength of record, strength of schedule. A little bit of a disparity here. Troy is 42nd according to ESPN's FPI, and South Alabama is 91st. So Troy's proven themselves much more. I'm sure your resume rankings would back that up as well. Troy has been completely unable to run the football, contrary to last year. They were one of the better rushing football teams, honestly, in the country, if not just the Sun Belt, but they've been unable to do it this year. They're 125th in rushing success rate. They just came off a game in which Texas State, whose defense is pretty good, but held them to just 37 rushing yards as a team. The offensive line, absolute disaster. That's where it starts and ends here at their inability to run the ball. But this isn't last year South Alabama's defense. They have regressed from 23rd nationally in points per drive allowed to 42nd. And again, that's against the 106 ranked strength of schedule according to FPI. So it's not just a 19 spot drop back. You also have to take into account they're playing a much easier schedule than they did last year and still coming up a lot shorter.
Yeah, Brett, just real quick on the resumes, since you mentioned it, I do have Troy number 43, most deserving. South Alabama's number 58 in the most deserving.
Okay.
Significantly better than ESPN strength of record or even my record achievement because of the impact that the relative scoring margin has on this, where South Alabama does rank 44th in the country. So Troy, the more deserving team, but South Alabama a little bit closer to them because of relative scoring margin and how I incorporate that. So I agree with you. This is a really good game out of the Sun Belt. It's got some big implications that I'm going to talk about. It's got a watchability score of 7.1. I have Troy -3, which is a 59% win expectancy for the Trojans. I'm very excited about this game, Brett. Control of the Sun Belt West is on the line. Currently, Troy has a 71% chance to win the division. South Alabama has just a 16% chance. A win for Troy, as my numbers project in this game, all but secures the title for the Trojans. However, if South Alabama wins, the race would be close and really could come down to the wire here with South Alabama having that head-to-head, which could end up being the deciding factor at the end of the day. Overall, Troy's power rating of 3.8 and corresponding ranking of number 47 are both season bests. At number 77, this is the best the Troy offense has been ranked all season as well. But it's not as good as the South Alabama defense that ranks number 69 for me. It's the other side of the ball, though, that features the strength on strength in this game, as you mentioned, Brett. At number 21, the Troy defense is the best unit in this game, and it's the strongest opposing defense that the number 56 South Alabama offense will face all season. Troy is the slightly better team with the best unit in this game. and they have the home field advantage. All of that leads me to a bottom line of having Troy -3, 41% chance that South Alabama secures the upset win on the road and keeps this West race competitive into mid-November at least.
Yeah, Carter Bradley being back is really a difference for me, but the best number is long gone. +7 was out there. It's most certainly not now. So I'm not sure that that's where I'm looking, but the over-under didn't move very much, or it was at least a little bit slower to move. And in that case, Carter Bradley matters to both point spread and the point total. And so I think I'm looking over 45.5 points. That's my play on this one. Kind of difficult to say with a couple of ironclad defenses, but again, that's just a systemic play in that the starting quarterback comes back, point spread moves, point total doesn't. Over for me. I did. So we're not going to talk about Duke Wake Forest. That's the one we left out. I'm sorry. I found it the least interesting of the group. But do note, just a quick programming note for the Duke Blue Devils. Don't treat them like they're at full strength until Riley Leonard returns. We talked about it last week. They scored 0 points against Louisville, and I tried to warn you. So hey, don't be betting on them. Don't be laying any points with them until Riley Leonard's back.